Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy YouTube Blue coming back at you again. How's everybody doing today? Oh, the drama of the Dallas Cowboys. It never fades. It never ends. It always intensifies. Whether you like it or not, it is what it is. Hey, but it's a good day to be a Cowboy vlogger because it's always something to talk about. Other teams don't have that. Now, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I first want to start off with Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones, you got to shut the hell up, bro. Like, NFL told you shut up. Like, you're doing too much. Stop talking about this anthem protest stuff. You're making the situation worse. You're getting old, bro. Just cut it out. Just be an owner. Be an owner. I understand that, you know, Jerry Jones runs his team like a family because it's family owned and operated. I get that. I understand that the people under him love working for him because the big business feels like a mom and pop company. I get that. But when it comes to these issues with the NFL, Jerry Jones, you are not above the NFL. You are not above anything when it comes to this league. You are not the commissioner. Yes, we don't like Roger Goodell. But stay in your place because you're going to mess around and lose your team. And you don't want that. You're making a lot of money right now. Worry about the Dallas Cowboys and the Dallas Cowboys only. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of scrutiny for the Dallas Cowboys. That's going to always be there. Ain't nothing you can do about that. Jerry Jones has to get a grip on reality as far as life today. Yeah, he may feel a certain way about the anthem, but you got to understand, you got a group of young men on this team. And this millennial generation is way different than it was in your day, Jerry. You have to step into the times, and you got to step back and let the team be the team. You got to let these players voice their opinion. And he's been called a bully. I'm not going to really say too much about it because it is what it is. But, Jerry, you just got to be quiet, bro. You got to let it go. Ty Hansen got in his ass. Shout out to DMV Dallas Cowboys. Hansen got in that ass. And he was right. Practice what you preach, bro. You know, it is what it is. But I'm not going to speak too much on that anymore. I'm going to keep it moving for the positivity with the Dallas Cowboys training camp. Now, we do got a couple of injuries out there. They're all petty, minor. Got a couple of hammies. Noah Brown should be back soon. Hopefully, the Cedric Wilson thing is not actually a torn labrum. He had an issue in college with a separation in his shoulder. He actually played through the season with that issue when he was in college his senior year, but he still might have to get surgery. But either way, if he gets surgery, get that thing together, keep it wrapped up, sit out. But the problem is this wide receiver battle is getting heated. Now, we know the top two right now, well, top three, I should say, you know, Allen Hurns, Terrence Williams, and Cole Beasley. We know they got their spots. I guess you can say right behind that would be Gallup and, Gallup right behind them. Now, it's intriguing because Deontay Thompson has been kind of struggling a little bit for a veteran, which I'm actually shocked to see that because I thought that he would have came in ready to go. He had a couple of nagging injuries too. Maybe that might be the issue, but, you know, granted, injuries are not. These healthy guys are going to go out and show out, and they're going to take his spot. And I just hope that he get it together, because if not, he ain't going to make it. He ain't going to make this team. This is already, I think, his third or fourth team since he's been in the league. For the last 6 years he's been in the league. So, I mean, it's been an uphill battle for Deontay Thompson. It's crazy because he's got the speed, and I know he's got the talent. I don't know what it is. Who is this guy, McKay? Where did he come from? I mean, he out there high pointing the ball. Like, he out there looking like this. High pointing that ball. I mean, I don't know if you've seen it, but we all know that Mickey Spagnolia is short. But this dude jumped so high, his knees was like literally parallel to Mickey's head. He was jumping high as hell. Now, I don't know anything about him, but he out there, people paying attention to him now. So that's how you get paid attention to. You go out there and catch these balls. KD Cannon is fast, but he need to get in the playbook more. I mean, you know, coming from, you know, a Baylor guy, you know, they're not the best at, you know, that's why the transition for Terrence Williams was hard too, because, you know, coming from that system, like, it's not really a pro-ready offense. You know what I mean? Like, they ran a couple of routes, and it was more geared to the quarterback that they had at the time. It wasn't they weren't real intricate with their route running. So that's another learning curve. So he definitely may not be a candidate unless they want to keep him on a practice squad and they think he's worth it. We got a battle going on with this. It's crazy because now you got to make a choice whether you want to keep these tight ends or you want to basically, because that fullback ain't going nowhere. Jameis Olawale ain't going nowhere. So you got a choice whether you're going to keep more running backs with that and use basically Olawale as like a third tight end. I mean, you can do that and only keep 2 tight ends, but the problem is where these other guys going to go. I mean, the decision, I mean, what's crazy is not everybody's looking good, but there's a lot of guys looking good, and it's going to be hard to cut down. Even Tapper, you know, in his limited roles out there, he's been out there showing, hey, look, I was injured, but I'm trying to show y'all my 4th round talent. You know what I mean? So it's just, it's a lot to go through. I would hate to be this coaching staff trying to figure out this team, figure out this roster, because I'm telling you, it's not going to be easy trimming down to 53. Now, with injuries, some of it weighs itself out. Some of it, sometimes you could get players out of the way just because of injuries, but, you know, it sucks because some talented players end up not getting picked up because of that situation, because they're injury prone. Leighton Vander Esch out there beasting like he been on this team. Like, I mean, he up there already with Jalen Smith, and I mean, I'm just loving what we have at linebacker right now. I mean, even Josh Thomas looking good. I mean, I'm just overall excited from what I'm seeing with these practices and these guys out here going to work. I mean, it's really, it's a real good thing right now. I'm just excited about it. I mean, with how crazy this week has been for me, with my leak in the house and just getting myself ready physically for the stuff that I'm trying to do right now. I'm not gonna talk about it right now. I'll tell you about it later. Mark Holmes having some similar issues with the plumbing in his house too, getting clogged up. I mean, it's been a crazy couple of weeks. I mean, and then we've been having a lot of rain here, and the rain been sporadic. We've been having like Florida type weather where the rain and then it stop and then the sun come back out. Yeah, I blame global warming for that. But yeah, Mark is still gonna go to training camp. I'm probably gonna, you know, watch some of him and see how much fun he's gonna be having. I'm still not gonna get to go. It is what it is. I'm a little salty, but it is what it is. I will be here and I will still report from home, and you guys will still see my ugly mug. But yeah, again, this training camp right here is different than a lot of other training camps that we had. Off of the basis of we don't have a lot of leadership on this team. But what I will say is some of these veterans that just came in on this team, and I will say Tavon Austin. Shout out to Tavon. Tavon came in here ready to work. Him and Allen Hurns. Soon as they got signed, they put them practice gear on, they put their shorts and they practice jerseys on, and they got to work. They got to work. And see, this is the thing. When you're a veteran in this league, you already know what you have to do on a daily basis. You know what it's like to be a rookie because you've been there. So when you see these young guys, you're able to help them and motivate them and get them to a point where, hey, this is what we need to be doing on this team to get better. Tavon Austin is out there practice. He's encouraging the guys. Deontay Thompson went on the route. He fell down, was slow to get. He's like, come on, get up, bro. Get up, get up. You know, he's out here motivating these guys and getting these guys together. Like, I mean, he's out here like he's been on the team for years. And I'm loving that. I'm loving that. What Sean Lee said about that whole Dez thing is true. Accountability. You have to be held accountable, not only for your own actions, but if you're a leader on this team or somebody that's good on the team, some of these younger players look up to you. So what you're doing affects what they're doing. So if you're doing the right, lead by example. And that's what Jason Witten did all day, every day. If you practice right, when you get in the game, you have less mess ups and you're going to be more successful. If you don't practice and you're not into your playbook, well, and that's how you don't end up on the team. You got to be focused. You got to be disciplined. You got to be humble. You got to be hungry. All of those things, because they go hand in hand. And I was always a firm believer of, you put the work in, you're going to reap the rewards. And that's the bottom line. Now, it was speculation that Tavon was going to originally be a running back or a web back, whatever the case may be that they were going to use him, scat back, whatever you want to call it. I don't give a damn. But I look at it like this. He's going to be more of a wide receiver because of just the way that things are going. Even Bo Scarborough's out there doing good, speaking of running backs. You know, he's out there running hard and things of that nature, but let's just hope his running hard doesn't get him injured like it did when he was at Alabama. It's one thing to run hard. It's another thing to be smart about it. You know, you got to pick and choose your battles because you just can't run through a wall and expect to come out unscathed. That's just with that. But it's imperative that we have some of these guys step up to be leaders on this team because, again, there's only like 3 players on this team that's over 30. And most of them are special teams players, like Chris Jones, LP Lattiser, and Dan Bailey. Those are your special teamers. You know what I mean? Like, I think Tavon is like the second been in the league the longest outside of them. So I just look at that, and you have to understand. I think that us having this young team is beneficial. I feel bad for Tony Romo because I feel like we, in a lot of ways, we wasted a lot of his years with mediocrity. And if it wasn't for Tony, we would have had 4-12, 6-10 seasons. But those 8-8 seasons were because he was making something out of nothing. And again, that all comes down to coaching. And yes, players do have to implement the coach's requests. But if you have a stale offensive plan, what can the players do? You know, because they get bored in that and they're like, all right, can we do something different? Can we switch it up? And that is the learning curve right now for Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott ain't nowhere near perfect. He's not, and I'm not going to say that. But I do believe in him because he is our quarterback, and I do want him to succeed as our quarterback. And I think that last year was a notion of him thinking too much, you know, because his first year was like, okay, he was in overdrive. He had Tony Romo still there on the sideline and Mark Sanchez there in his ear and Kellen Moore. And it was more of, you know, he was learning on the fly and he was doing what he had to do because it wasn't his team yet. So he didn't have that pressure on him. Now, with last year being the second year, it was like, okay, Tony wasn't on the team no more. He was like, oh, this is my squad now. I have to do what I need to do. I need to figure out what Scott Linehan wants of me. And I need to uplift my teammates and become the leader of this team. So I think a lot of last year was more cerebral, like he was thinking too much. Now I think that this season, he's a little bit more comfortable. He's got the playbook a little more down pat. And basically he's able to make it his own. And once you're able to, as a quarterback, to make it your own, you're going to end up being a better player because you can now concentrate on the things that you couldn't see before, like your accuracy, your footing, your reads, things of that nature. Those are the things that that's imperative for you to work on. Now, I look at Mike White, I look at Cooper Rush. Yeah, those are young guys with some talent, but you look at them in training camp, they're a little off right now, and that's because they're still learning. Mike White is still learning the playbook. You can't just come in here and expect to just be like, all right, I'm going to win. Now, I have to give Dak credit for being a 4th-round draft pick. He has done his due diligence. And those of you that say that you want Mike White over him, okay, let's see how that works out. A guy with no experience coming in here taking it. Now, granted, I know that Dak did that when he came in, but Tony Romo was still here on that sideline, and he had those guys coaching him up and helping him. That was with that and the emergence of Zeke Elliott too, that helped him out a lot his rookie year. So I feel like Dak he got to learn on the fly, so he's a little farther more ahead of somebody coming in the same time he did, but just sat on the bench and didn't play. Because again, most people learn by doing, and I know I'm a very visual learner. You teach me how to do something, and I do it, and I execute it. I may mess up the first time, but as I keep doing it, my mind figures it out, and it's like, okay, I can get this. I can do this. So I got to get back to work. I just wanted to just chat with y'all for a minute. You know, I'm sorry for the long-winded, but, you know, I got to keep it real. You know, that's just how I do. So with that being said, I am excited about training camp. I'm glad these guys are stepping up and doing their thing. Even the injuries that we have right now to these guys, they're not real serious at this point. I feel like, you know, they could come back. But I just want to say real quick about a couple of players that I think that some veterans that could get cut though if they don't watch their back. And I think that 2 of these guys are injury prone, because that might be their demise, because they haven't got to show much for the talent that they have. Of course, you know, Chaz Green. A lot of you guys want Chaz Green gone. I understand. I get it. He wasn't all bad, because in 2016, I remember that San Francisco game when he took over for Tyron. He wasn't bad out there. He did his thing. But for whatever reason, he keeps having brain farts and he keeps getting injured. So I don't know. This year, he better step it up, because you got Cam Fleming in here, and Cam Fleming is actually doing good in training camp, and he's breathing down that boy back. So Chaz Green could actually be a 3rd-round pick that could get cut. You look at Charles Tapper. Charles Tapper, I mean, I've been rooting for him because he's from here. He's from Baltimore. So he's from, you know, I'm not in Baltimore, but I'm close. But, I mean, he's from this area. So I root for the guy. You know, he just lost his mom, and you know, he's taking care of his brothers. And, you know what I'm saying? So it's like he's got a lot on his plate right now, you know, personally. So I look at it like this. You know, his drive right now, he's a great guy, though. And I mean, I think that he deserves a spot because he does have the talent, but he just gotta figure these injuries out. If he can play this training camp and get in preseason and show the Cowboys something, he can make this team. But that just means that David Irving's gonna be the odd man out, because the more and more of these defensive guys step up, it's gonna be more sparse for David Irving, and he's gonna get that situation where it's like, oh, well, we don't need to resign you because we got some guys that come in here that actually are going to be here, don't get suspended, and get into work. And they're all in on my philosophy. That's probably what Garrett is thinking right now. So, again, he better figure it out, because if he don't, he ain't going to be on this team. So, I feel like if Charles Tapper just does his job and he stays healthy, he would ultimately make this team. But if not, I don't think that the Cowboys are going to keep him around any longer. It's been 3 seasons, and, you know, after a while, you're like, okay, enough is enough. You look at what happened with Matt Johnson when we had Matt Johnson, that safety before. He never even really played in a regular season game. If he did, maybe 1 or 2, but he was always injured, and that was his demise. He never got to finish again. You guys remember the wide receiver that we had from Virginia Tech, Danny Cole, same thing. Came in here. He was almost like a little taller than Cole Beasley, but he had a knack for that slot like Beasley did, and I really liked him when he came out of Virginia Tech. But problem is, he was injury prone and he didn't make it. And of course, the third person is, I mentioned him already, Deontay Thompson. He's dealing with some nagging injuries, but he hasn't been catching the ball or doing things to wow these coaches either in this camp. Being a veteran, you got to go out there and do your work. So I just look at those three guys like they can be on the bubble right now. But again, it's still kind of early. They don't have to make the decision yet. But I'm just looking at it from that standpoint that you got to ball or go home. That's my philosophy for this year's training camp. Ball or take your ass home. That's all I got for you today. That's your boy E2 Blue, always keeping it real. Talk to y'all soon.